if you look at the water levels in here, we've got a west wind, and you know, the trees are blowing a little bit, but middle of the summer, it's hot as all get up. We were planning on making a big run, but that water only gets back down 2 or 3 feet by one thing. A lot of water getting moved and a lot of wind, so we're definitely not going to make our big run. So we're on plan B before we even get started, but I know that before we leave the dock. So pay attention to the little things, like this hard west wind blowing all the water out. It's going to be naughty in the open water, so we ain't going there. Key to summer, we got a couple things going on here. We're going to run long leads with some deep diving crankbaits. We're going to run some weighted stuff, and then we're going to put some divers down, because I only got me and camera dude again. Country Steve, he's on sabbatical still. And we're going to see what works, because I've been out here quite a bit, and every day it's definitely different. So we got 3 things going on. Like I was saying, we've got really long leads with monofilament on our boards. That's on the outside, because we can only run 6 lines today with no Country Steve. Then we've got a snap weight with a 2 ounce on the inside, which is fishing pretty darn deep. And then we've got a dipsy diver set on kind of a half setting deal there. This is just getting out from the boat a little bit. That's going to be really deep. So we're going to kind of see where these fish are actually going to bite at, because we've got fish generally marking down, but you want to catch them as high as you can, because a lot of those fish down are not the right species, or junk fish, or small walleyes, or whatever it may be. The higher you can fish, the better you are. But when the water is almost 80 degrees, you're generally pretty deep. We've got, you know, the old hummingbird there showed deep fish, and sure enough, we've been fishing a few minutes here, and our deepest line with the 2 ounce weight and the most amount of line out just went. And it feels like a decent fish, actually. It's so important to not sell out and have several things going on, because these active fish become in these little pockets, and it changes throughout the day. And so many of the times you see that screen all lit up and those, you know, the screen's just full, but a lot of them just aren't walleyes. You know, whether they're sheephead or catfish or big, you know, big schools of baitfish. A lot of guys don't realize we've got whitefish out here even, and they mark just like a nice big old walleye. You know, a lot of you guys ask me about how I hand land these things. Don't try that at home, but we're going to use the scooper today because I got a $12 crankbait on there, not going to lie to you. So there's 12 reasons we just netted that, all of them dollars. But if you look on the screen after we just caught that, she's loaded up right there. I had a protein bar this morning. This walleye had a little gizzard shad or smelt or whatever the heck that is, I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's all chewed up, but I'll stick with a protein bar. Ooh, ooh, letting this thing out. What just happened here? Oh man, did I get smoked letting this out. We were talking about protein bars, and I was just letting this line we just caught one on back out, and I got absolutely smoked. I mean, smoked. Double down. So, I don't know if you could say what was going on here, but one thing I also do quite a bit is I always let it out past what I'm fishing a little bit. Sometimes when I'm using the fishing deeper, I want to see if I actually hit bottom, so I make sure that I'm not on bottom when I'm using my normal spread, if that makes sense. And this one I went to reel it back up a little bit, and wowzers, I mean smoked it. Almost so hard it makes me nervous that it's not the right flavor. Because in the summertime, it's kind of like Baskin Robbins out here. You got 31 flavors. You ain't gonna catch just walleyes, I ain't gonna lie to you, but that's why we're doing what we're doing. I don't have spoons out because, you know, the junk fish have been so going on those spoons that we've been using pretty much the you know, monster crankbaits. So again, you know, I've got that 30-foot leader here, and it allows me to take that snap off like that and then not have that fish so close that he's gonna head shake and be gone on me, or give me a little bit of time to get that net ready, whatever it may be. Look, that's a gator. Son, we got a gator. I mean, this thing just freaking ripped it out of my hands, man. See, like we were talking about when we opened this thing up and I told you what we were doing with these long leads. The long leads on mono have been my go-to the last 3 weeks, really. And I mean, we've been catching on a little bit of everything from day to day, but today we haven't been fishing very long, and it's not what I would call a sellout pattern, but 2 fish in a couple minutes here, both on the weights. Ooh, ooh. You think this fella ain't hungry? So that right there, those are little either perch or gizzard shad. I think they're gizzard shad, both of those. That little fish there spit up them couple monsters. That's really important because I know where them gizzard shad are at. Way down. Important deal. Fish just hit clearing the line, bringing it in. I was reeling the line in and stopped here and talking to the camera dude, but Country Steve, of course. And I stopped, and dude, the board just started going back crazy. What a hoot. You know, so there's a couple fish on the board lines without weights. Again, they're still really deep, but the snap weight rods were at least 5 to as many as 10 feet deeper. So, you know, don't sell out. I don't care what time of year you're fishing. When you're doing open water fishing, do not sell out. Make sure you keep your stuff spread out, because as the day goes on, those fish are going to go up and down. You know, maybe double up on 1 or 2 or something, but make sure you leave yourself an open mind to cover that water column, or you're going to get burnt. Let's break this down. What happened? I sped it up to get it out of the way, and then I stopped it when I'm talking to camera dude. That's no different than maybe, you know, when you have that happen, one time is enough for me to then make sure I change the boat speed. Maybe I'm turning the boat left, turning it right, doing little slow S-turns. You know, I'm speeding the boat up just with the gas engine or with my Minn Kota. Realistically, I do it here. I just speed it up a little bit, hit the rabbit, then I'll take it off. Those little things are the trigger. Just like if you were working a spinnerbait and you're speeding up or you're pumping the rod, it's the same deal. So don't be surprised when that happens. It's a clue to what you need to do. That's harder than it looks, I'm gonna tell you right now. Another chunky monkey. I guess if I was eating protein shake gizzard shads all day. Whew. Oh, I'm gonna do this over the boat so I can show you what this fella's eating. But check out. Took his lunch money, but I'm gonna let him live. That one came off, you know, I mean, they're hitting really good, but I'm assuming they're coming up and slashing at him because, I mean, we've had a lot of fish not hook good. We had a couple come off here at the boat there as I was trying to manhandle them by myself, and a couple in the net. But they're obviously eating well. All of these fish are spitting up just a tremendous amount of bait fish. You know, if you've watched our videos on crankbait stuff, you know that I'm pretty a proponent of certain gear. Like this is a Shimano Dakota. We've got an 8'3" Compre, which is really nice for cranking, kind of power cranking too. And I go down, I always use just a little single snap on there, that's it. And I don't like a lot of hardware in there. But as we get into these summer months and early fall like this, what I need to do is I need to make a little change, and I go down to putting a leader on with like a little tiny Spro power swivel right there. It's about a 4-foot leader. It's the same line. I'm using 20-pound Sunline Supernatural on both ends. But the reason I want that swivel in there is as we get into these junk fish, these really small walleyes, you know, when you don't know you have a fish on. And then also the biggest probably thing is when you're using one of these snap weights, you want to be able to not have your entire 100 feet of line or whatever you got out twisted up. And especially as you get into this late summer, early fall deal where the white bass will be hitting. And it doesn't matter, even if you get on that rod immediately, those things are just going to be like a whippoorwill and they're going to spin around. So having this little line in here is going to keep you from having to re-spool all your lines, and it's going to keep all that stuff fishing nice and easy. It's not something I like to do all year, but when you're using snap weights or you know you got small fish coming around, that's what you want to do. Finally got that deeper line going on the outside, but it was still shallower than what we've been catching on most of the fish on. You know, I'm always preaching that we don't want to sell out lines, but because these fish will move up and down in the day, but when you only running a few lines like we are today, because it's just me, you know, again, no country Steve, you don't want to miss that bite, but yet you want to take advantage and get as many as you can, you know, when they're biting deep, like is what they're doing. That's kind of the theme so far. Our highest fish has come about 22 feet down. Again, normally you guys see me one-hand those things and scoop them on the side, but 12 reasons why, all of them dollars. And honestly, these fish have not been hooked that great. We had a couple of them that were hooked good. Ooh, wee, another protein shake. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've eaten those a few times. Oh yeah, oh looky here. This is kind of like robbing the kids at the you know, taking a little lunch money out of the kids. These fish is chewing the gizzards. I feel like I'm at the cafeteria taking the third graders lunch money right now. I really do. Oh, now looky here. Oh, I mean, if we were into eating dead minnows, this would just be like a field day. But guess what? You know, we're using these big minnow imitating lures because as you can see, that 20-inch walleye, scrumptious.